Francesca, and I'm Claire's, what is that? Where's the yeah, I'm Claire's ventriloquist. Also known as dummy. And I'm going to do the best I can to speak over that so everyone can hear. My apologies if you can't. Claire's piece is titled Resisting Erasure. I remember this Brazilian chiropractor in San Francisco once told me, Latinas are usually not very flexible. He was surprised by my dancer body's ability to move so easily in spite of the pain and tightness of my muscles. I thought how, when you carry a great many people's histories on your bones, including but not limited to rape, torture, exploitation, which not only happened to you, but your sister and her daughter's friend, and also your land, and you are carrying your future strapped tightly to your chest, sucking his thumb, and you are also carrying your gifts of loving and healing, at times bending over backwards to provide them. Well, yes, your tendons and ligaments may have tightened some. When you have worked twice, 3 times as hard to carve out a space in the world, and it probably included evenings and weekends, you are bound to be sore and inflexible. In her book of poetry and pensamientos, Loving and the Warrior, queer and Chicana author Sherry Moraga writes, sometimes I feel my back will break from the pressure I feel to speak for others. A friend told me once how no wonder I had called the first book I co-edited, the Floria Anzaldúa, This Bridge Called My Back. You have chronic back trouble, she says. Funny, I never considered this most obvious connection. All along my back giving me constant pain. Moraga is saying her need to voice the story of her people's identity is a great weight she carries, causing real pain to her body. Being a woman and a woman of color, and a queer woman of color, means experiencing an acute sense of invisibility. And for Moraga and many others, there is a need to speak out against this invisibility. Further, having these identities means carrying the weight of our mutual and often painful history on our backs every day. What ailment more literal than chronic back pain? It is a pain caused by a burden too heavy to be carried without trauma to our spines. Further, it is an ailment as invisible as we are forced to be in this world. It was not until I began to experience more severe back pain that I began to meet so many others like myself, usually women, often queer women, or women of color, or both, who suffer this illness themselves. Talking with those I have met, I recognized our common experiences. Like Sherry Moraga, I had a realization about the direct connection between my pain and my identity. I already live in a world in which I have fought to be seen, and seen on my own terms. People belonging to groups oppressed by the dominant culture have always been in danger of erasure. Our languages, our ways of healing, our food, our stories, all continue to be methodically scratched off the surface of the earth. Yet it is not just our cultures that are threatened with disappearance. The very ways we choose to identify are denied us. In my father's family, we have slowly lost our connections to our Mexican ancestry. My father and his siblings were discouraged from speaking Spanish, both at home by their parents and at school. Familial ties in Mexico were slowly cut until no one ever crossed the border anymore to visit the aunts and uncles on the other side. As he grew older, my father strove to assimilate with white American culture as best he could, shedding his cultural past in an attempt to find a better future. Some of it cannot be retrieved. Growing up, I always felt the void where my family's history used to be. It was like a cold wind blowing in the emptiness behind me, raising the hairs on my neck. Some of our story had been erased by the hands of hegemony. It has been challenging to assert my existence and identity in the present, in spite of what was lost in the past. For so long I did not even have names by which to call myself, those names that I have now, queer, Chicana, among others. The culture around me was telling me that my experience did not or should not exist, that I am invisible. I carry the trauma of those times I was given this message, and it weighs me down. For myself and for most others, chronic pain has physical causes and is a real illness. It can also be a manifestation of emotional and psychological trauma and a sense of invisibility. It serves to aggravate these problems. Chickasaw poet and novelist Linda Hogan recounts in her memoir how she lost her ability to dream due to fibromyalgia she developed. As an ancient measure of herself, Hogan had always counted on her ability to dream and her ability to connect with the holy through her dreams. Yet she lost this fundamental ability when she developed chronic pain. She writes, "The inner story slipped away from me. Myself was dismantled, unbuilt. My faith in the body and its vitality was lost. And losing faith in the body a person inhabits and has been in good relationship with is frightening. In pain, there is the unmaking of a person, an identity, a world." Hogan's pain reflected a long history of trauma both she and her people had suffered. In a sense, the pain drug this trauma to the surface, worrying it like a person worries a scab until it bleeds, causing a fresh wound. Hogan's pain highlighted her past suffering. At the same time, it caused her new injury by destroying the way she had formerly stayed connected to her identity and given it voice in the world. I do not know firsthand the experience of oppression one has when one has a visible disability. I can speak, however, to the ways one is hurt, judged, denied, when one has an invisible disability, such as chronic pain. Like going to a dance party and sitting alone on the couch, even though all my friends there know I'm not choosing not to dance. Like no longer being able to access bike culture and events structured around bike culture. Having people offer endless advice. I should try yoga or Epsom salt baths or a million other therapies I've already tried for my pain, as though they are also experts on my body. Friends being exasperated that I have to leave a show early because my back is killing me, or anyone at all asking how my back is, but not really wanting a sincere answer. I can see their eyes begin to wander as I tell them no, it hasn't gotten better. The weight of all these experiences serves to flare my pain up.